Hey there everybody, welcome to My Green Pets. This is William Green speaking to you from the Green Room. And it is the 12th of May 2018. It is very warm outside. We're looking at 32 degrees Celsius today. And that means that it is definitely warm enough for these plants to go outside. But last year I took my plants outside and there was a brief cool snap. It was down into the 50s for a few days and my plants suffered. So I'm a little bit more cautious about taking them outside this year. So they're all still in here except for a couple. You may have noticed last week that there was a kind of a flash sale and one of my plants was divided and sold off. Towards the end of this video I will be showing you the next plant that will be divided up and sold off. So if you're interested in that, please stay tuned because that will happen just like the last plant did. I'm going to divide it. I'm going to put all the pieces out on the table. I'm going to say, this is available. If you want it, email me, and that's going to be it. So you'll want to stay tuned to catch that. So let's take a look at what's going on in the green room. I'm doing this all in one take, so forgive the sloppiness. First thing up is what's in bloom. This is the Oncidium Speckled Spire Wisp. And I first got this clone in 2014 because I saw a picture of it on the Orchid board forums, and I thought, well, it's kind of unusual because it's a white Oncidium. A lot of the Oncidiums are not white, you know, so I thought, okay, it's good. And it also has a very nice scent, baby powder scent. It's got 2 spikes this year after not blooming at all last year. In fact, I don't think I've seen flowers on this for a long time. So very happy that it's finally come out and bloomed for us. Another interesting thing that's going on is this. This is Nepenthes ventrata, and it has produced a really nice picture with very nice lines on the lip there. Good color. Really like that. I don't know why we're not focusing on it. And I like too that they kind of grow in stages, so you can see, you know, the beginning stage. Actually, the beginning stage is like here. They start out as little bitty nothings, and then they start to, you know, curve. You know, you get this U-shaped curve, and this part elongates. And then it starts to swell at the base, like this one here. And then finally, it gets to a certain size, and the top pops open, and it's ready to capture insects and eat them. Very cool. Let's see. I am very hopeful. Oh, actually, let's do an update on Bulbophyllum medusae. This plant is the one that was divided a couple weeks ago. And it's got one new growth on it here. Seems to be pushing itself out in spite of the trauma that it has been through. I'm keeping the sphagnum moist, but it's very loosely packed, just kind of sitting on there. Hopefully the roots won't be suffocated. They'll have plenty of air, but also moisture accessible to them. I never ever let this thing dry out. I mean, if I can help it. I want it to always have moisture right there at the roots, but not smother the roots. I want them to be able to have a little bit of air getting them to them as well. Is this one going to produce a growth too? I don't know, maybe not. Okay, so that's that. Seems to be okay. I'm not too worried. Hopefully that's not jinxing it for me, but generally the bulbos do pretty well for me. I keep them warm, I keep them wet, and they seem to be happy. My paphs, my big multifloral slipper orchids I just really feel like this is the year they're gonna bloom. They just have that look to them, you know. They're just kind of finishing these old growths, putting out new growths. This one especially, it looks like there's something down inside the leaves there. That might be pushing out in the next month or so, which is normally when this thing blooms. It usually sends up a spike in June and blooms in July. So that would be right on time for that. Did not bloom last year, so I'm expecting great things from you this year, mister. Another bulbo. This is Bulbophyllum Lovely Elizabeth. It's got 3 growths this year, and the growths aren't very big. So I'm wondering if it's got some kind of issue. Who knows? This leaf has got some kind of weird coloration issues on there, like, not sure. So keeping an eye on that. Well, not really much I can do, just try to give it ideal conditions, and if it grows out of whatever's bothering it, great, and if it doesn't, then that's great too. Whatever. This is my Myciela monticola. It's got that big flower that's bigger than the whole plant. It's putting out a couple new roots here and down here as well. That sphagnum is packed pretty tight to keep the plant in place, but hopefully the slots in the side will provide enough air to the roots. And then there's actually some root growth down here as well. Always encouraging. Root growth is the key to successful orchid growth. No roots means no leaves, and no leaves means no flowers. Let's see here. Let's go over, oh yes, let's look at the catasetum types. Love these little guys. This is Cycnodes Wine Delight. It's pushing up lots of leaves. These grow so fast when they start to grow. It's been dormant since November, December or so. Putting out lots of roots. The roots are actually growing up out of the pot like this, which is very kind of interesting, the way that they're hunting for, I don't know what they're hunting for. They're hunting for something. But root growth looks great. Very happy about that. And I have been keeping water just kind of sitting in that tray, just a little bit of water. And doesn't seem to be hurting it. They definitely like to have their water and their fertilizer when they're in their growing stage. This is another one. It's a little bit behind the other one. And it has got some root growth as well, but I'm not going to touch it because I got my time lapse on it. I am currently time lapsing that plant there. This is the catasetum type, but I'm also time lapsing the growth on this leaf here, which is on my next plant, which is the Cattleya rex. In fact, all of these are Cattleya rex. These are seedlings that I received as really little bitty babies, actually. They were about this big when I got them in 2014. These 3 haven't really grown much since then, but they're kind of a good reference for what everything looked like a few years ago. Most of them have kind of moved on past the infantile stage into they're producing adult pseudobulbs. They're just small, but with each pseudobulb they get a little bit larger. And this is the biggest one, so I'm not going to move it once again because of doing the time lapse. The key to time lapse is never ever touch the thing. But if you look inside here, inside the new leaf, look at this. That little line in the middle there, in the middle of the leaf, that is called a sheath. And a sheath is where buds push out of Cattleya orchids. So, there might not be anything in that sheath. It might be an empty one. But there might be something in there. That plant might actually bloom this year. Not going to try not to get too excited because you just never know what it's going to do. But the potential is there. My first Cattleya rex seedling may very well bloom this year. Very, very excited about that possibility. Let's see. This is my Frag Grande. It produced a big, nice show for us in February, and it was the subject of the big, long time-lapse video, which if you haven't seen it, I'm going to put the link up here so you can have a look. Very interesting video to watch the orchids move. I mean, they just crawl around like animals when you speed up time for them. Okay, let's see here. I think that's about it. I guess the only other thing that I wanted to look at was this little Neophynetic, oh, I'm sorry, I can't say that anymore, Vanda falcata. This is a Japanese orchid. It's actually native to Japan. And it's a type of Vanda orchid. If you don't know what Vanda orchids are, they are really nice. I have a big one outside. I'll show you in a minute. But these are cool because they actually, do you see that little, like little leaves poking up out of the, poking up there? That's actually going to be the flowers this year. And they have been sticking out there since, I don't know, several months ago. It's like they kind of poke up like they're getting ready to come out, but then they wait, and they wait, and they wait, and they wait until it warms up. And then when it starts getting warm, they all push themselves out. So I would say within a month or two, we're going to see that thing start to grow. And this plant is just, it's just, you know, some orchids are just cute. And there's just nothing not cute about this plant. The way that the leaves kind of arrange themselves, you know, in fans. You know, there's a fan there, and a fan there, and a fan there, and you know, there's multiple layers of them. You know, it's how the leaves are kind of perky. You know, they're very, you know, they stick out not quite straight. They got a slight curve to them, and it just looks like a happy little plant. And then when it blooms, the blooms are just the icing on the cake. And there's many different types of these that have stripes and stubby leaves and long leaves and pink flowers, and there's some even hybrids with yellow flowers. So if you're interested in a Vanda falcata, you should have a look. You should have a look. They're easily available. This one is not for sale. It's mine, but they're easily, you can easily find them. Okay. If you want to contact Windy Hill Gardens, she has great stuff, actually. Let me give her a promo here. Her name is Marilyn. Ledoux@usmo.com, or call her 636-742-3010, and she will probably have one to fix you up with. And if not, she has lots of other plants. Okay, let's go outside and see what's outside, and I will reveal to you the plant that is about to be divided up and sold off. So, stay with me. Well, we had a nice, long, cool spring down here in the Ohio Valley, but it is now, we have got full-on summer temperatures. Like I said, 32 degrees Celsius today. Lows at night are still in the 20s, so it is. We have moved into our tropical summer time. And this plant here on the right, this is a Vanda orchid. This is Vanda Pachara Delight. And it's several years old. It was given to me in 2014 by a lady that simply couldn't pick it up anymore. And it was not feasible for her to take care of it. So I said, I'll take that. And now I'm stuck with it. So the plant that's actually going to be split up and sold is going to be this one. This is the coconut orchid, Maxillariella tenuifolia. And I don't even know where to start. I mean, when I started looking into the, you know, like where could I maybe make a cut or split, it's just like I just don't even know where. It's like I'm almost going to have to get a saw out and just start sawing. You know, there will be losses. There will be pieces and parts of the plant that just get cut off, and that's just how it is. But the good thing is, within a month or two, this plant will start to show buds. So the divisions, provided they are given good conditions, should go ahead and bloom out later on this summer. So be on the lookout for that. I'm not taking names yet. I'm going to wait until it's divided. Then I'm going to post the plant. I'm going to post all the divisions, and then it's going to be first come, first serve with those. Okay? If you're interested in seeing the plants that I have in my yard, like my garden plants, stay tuned, and I'm going to take you around and show you. So I got to be careful with my camera angles so I don't, you know, show off my neighbors' yards or anything like that. Kind of respect their privacy. But these are both dwarf peach trees, and they're really, really nice in the spring. But also they produce peaches, and hopefully they're not going to make a liar out of me. Yeah, they do. You can see the little peach right here. Bing, 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 bing. So later in the summer, maybe August, September, these peaches will be ripe, and hopefully the squirrels will not eat them, and I will be able to enjoy. Now this is the only large hardwood tree that I have planted in my yard. This is a Nyssa sylvatica, also known as a black gum tree or a tupelo tree. And the reason I chose this tree is because It is unusual, but there's also one in my parents' backyard that we have had, you know, it's been there since before I was born. So it's got some sentimental value as well. So what's unusual about this tree is the fact that the leaves are glossy. They have a nice glossy texture to them, oval shaped, and they have, and you can find lots of articles online to back this up, the fall color, the autumn color of these leaves is absolutely spectacular. It is the brightest fluorescent, brilliant red color. You just would not believe it. Now, this tree was just planted a couple of years ago, and so I'm actually really happy that this year the leaves have come out. They were much smaller than this last year. It looks much better this year, so it looks good. But there is something that is going on with it. All of the leaves that you can see here have got red spots on them. See, there's one by my thumb there. And I don't know what that is, but it bothers me. It really bothers me, because almost every leaf on the plant has this problem, which makes me think that it's some kind of an infection. There's some problem with the plant. I don't know if this is going to be something that will grow out, or if it's something that it's going to have its whole life. I don't know. I hope it's not going to shorten the life of this tree, but I really do love it, and I come outside every day and look at it. My neighbors think I'm crazy probably, but I think they're crazy for sitting inside watching TV all day when it's beautiful outside, so meh. Okay, this lovely little tree is known in Japan as yamaboshi, but we call it the Korean dogwood here in the United States. And it is a type of dogwood, and I'm so happy. Last year was its first full year, and this year it's going to have little flowers. They're just now opening up. They're going to be bigger and wider when they get finished. They're just now opening up today, really. But the centers, once they're pollinated, the centers will actually become these big red strawberry looking things that birds and squirrels will probably love later on in the season. So I'm looking forward to that. The great thing about these, opposed to the regular American dogwoods, the Cornus floridus I think it's called, is that these bloom later. So if we have a late frost, like a late April frost or something that could damage the regular dogwood leaves, these don't bloom until middle of May, so chances of the flowers being damaged is decreased. Also, these are more resistant to diseases that the other dogwood is susceptible to. So it's not a native species, and I understand that, I recognize that, but it's got a better chance of making it. So, and I wanted something different, you know, I wanted something a little bit different. So hopefully this will grow large and beautiful over the years. Alright, now what's this little bush? This is called a Carolina Allspice. Hartlage Wine is the variety. And we're kind of catching the blooms at the end. They are more of a rich wine color when they bloom, but look at that flower on a bush. Isn't that great? I think there's one more, kind of a younger flower down here. Oh yeah, let's go over here. Yeah, these look better. Look at that. Aren't those nice? There's another one down here. I mean, just love these guys. And they have a slight fragrance. Now, if you get a full-blooded, non-hybridized Carolina Allspice, they're very fragrant. But this Hartlage Wine variety is crossed with an Asian variety, so it's lost some of the fragrance. But still, they get pretty big if you don't prune them. And they like semi-shade. I've got mine in full sun. They can take it, but they prefer a little bit of shade. Right next to my allspice is this plant. This is called a witch hazel, and this is a witch hazel Gelina is the variety. And man, I just love this thing too. You don't need to prune them. I mean, they get to be the size of like a small tree, so you need to place them correctly, but you don't have to prune them. And the leaves, so interesting. They are asymmetrical, and the bark is this wonderful silver color, especially in the winter. And the winter is when this plant shines. This plant, you can see the flowers have already expired. This plant bloomed in February. This is a winter blooming shrub. So if you're looking for something to have, if you want to have flowers in your garden, if you have a temperate 4-season climate and you want something that's going to add color to your garden in the middle of winter, well, I guess towards the end of winter, February, here in the northern hemisphere, this is it, witch hazel. Now there's another type of witch hazel that we're gonna look at here in a second. I'll just take you over there and talk to you while we go over. There's another type of witch hazel that is native to North America, and this one blooms in the winter as well, but it blooms at the beginning of winter, like November, December, the very, very end of the growing season. And this guy has yellow flowers. They're fragrant. And so if you've got some witch hazels in your landscaping, you're going to have flowers as late as December and as early as February. So January might feasibly be the only month that you don't have any flowers. Okay, well, I realize the video is getting kind of long, so we'll stop here for today. This is a blue columbine. These spread like crazy. I mean, I started out with one plant and now there are tons. I mean, you can see the little babies coming up everywhere, all over the place, and it's great because they block out the weeds, but then they also have these wonderful blue flowers. And I think columbine come in many different colors. I just happen to have the blue ones. But right next to it is just one of my favorite little perennials. This is Blatilla striata, the hardy ground orchid, and it's from China, but these plants come back every year, and they are so nice. They are so charming. I'm gonna zoom in here. Let's see if I can. Well, come on. Come on. There we go. Isn't that lovely? They bloom in May. You have to shelter them a little bit in the winter because they do tend to come up early, and if you have a late frost, it'll kill the bloom spike. But I mean, if you want an absolutely trouble-free orchid that you can just forget about, that will bloom every year, Blatilla striata, that's what you want. Recently, one of my friends bought me this one, which is, it's another ground orchid, but this is a white one. I've never had the white one, I've only had the purple ones, or the pink ones, so looking forward to these. Alright guys, well that's it for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you found this interesting. And I'd love to hear your comments below. So until next time, this is William Green with My Green Pets. See ya.